Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing an if you like this, then I think you should read this video. So recommending books based on if you have liked one of the other books that I think have similarities. So for each of these, I think there's a different reason why I think that these books would pair well together, whether that's themes or writing style or characters, that there is something within them that I feel has similarities. And generally, if you like a certain trope, then you might like another trope. But granted, this is not a hard and fast rule, so you might say, no, absolutely not, Abby, these books do not pair well together in my mind, but this is how I see them as pairing quite well. I think that if you like Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Marina Garcia, then I think you should read Redemption in Indigo by Karen Lord. Now I know Angela Literature Science is already saying, but Abby, I like Redemption in Indigo so much better than Gods of Jade and Shadow. And I know, Angela, I know. But I do think these pair quite well. I think for both of them, I gave these 4 stars, so I liked them. I feel like there's similarities within the themes of these two. So Gods of Jade and Shadow, you are set in Jazz Age, Mexico, following a main character, Cassiopeia, and she discovers the bones of a dead god in the trunk of her grandfather's room, and she accidentally awakens this dead god, and then they go off on an adventure, where he ends up offering her a deal, and in return for his help in recovering his throne, he will grant her whatever she desires. And they go off on this adventure across different parts of Mexico for him to reclaim his throne from his evil brother. I like the way that Mexican and Mayan influences were interspersed throughout this and exploring that history and that culture more. This one, on the other hand, is a Senegalese folktale retelling, so very different inspirations. And in this one, you are following a main character, Palmer, and at the beginning of the book, she has left her husband and gone back to live with her family, only to find that her husband has found her, and she ends up attracting the attention of the undying ones, the Zombie, and they present her with this gift of the Chaos Stick, which allows her to manipulate the subtle forces of the world. Unfortunately, not all of the Zombie are happy that she has been given this gift, and the Indigo Lord believes this power should be his and his alone, and he sets about trying to persuade Palmer to return the Chaos Stick. And in this as well, there is some travelling. So I feel like in both of these, they have these elements of travelling around on these not quests, but adventures. And I do feel like the Indigo Lord and the Mayan god in this, I've forgotten his name, would get along. Like, I see similarities within their characters. And maybe as well, Palmer and Cassiopeia, I feel like they would get along as well. Like, I feel like the characters within these have similarities between them. And I feel as though they both are interweaving different folklore into the story. So whether that's the Mayan folklore or whether that's the Senegalese folklore, and the influence of gods on our human world. So I do feel like these mesh quite well, and if you've read one, then I think you should at least try the other. Next, I think that if you like She Who Became the Sun, then you will also like The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. This, I feel, is a little bit more of a stretch than that first one, and this is purely because they feel like they're a very similar genre. So both of these two books are very historical, or alternate history, historical fantasy with very, very limited fantasy elements. So She Who Became the Sun, you're following our character as she takes the destiny of her brother and uprises, and she goes to the monastery where she has her training and education, and then there is this brink of war and warring factions between different parties, and it is very much inspired by the history of China, the same as The Grace of Kings, which is also inspired by the history of China. I am not too sure what time periods both of them are at or how much they might overlap, I don't believe they do, but also inspired by the history of China. And the only magical element in She Who Became the Sun is that there are ghosts within it. But otherwise, the magic is really very limited. And this, I think the writing style is quite different, that this is very detailed in its world building, and the world, the descriptions, the building up of this whole world is very detailed, much more detailed than She Who Became the Sun, but it is similar in the sense that it is really very historical. There is very little magic in this. The magic is that there are gods that oversee events, and you get some of their interjections throughout, and you do have some sort of steamships, although the technology for them is from like a natural resource. So limited magic in this, and it does read really like a historical account of events, and that I think from what Ken Liu has said, that this does act as like a prologue or like a history of the world for the rest of the series. So I think if you really enjoy those stories that are more historical fantasy, leaning more on the historical with an Asian setting, then I think these two would be comparable. If you've read one and not the other, then maybe try out the other one. So there's that. For a more romantic romance recommendation, I think that if you like The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, then you will also like Spanish Love Deception. And this is more like, if you like The Hating Game plus The Honeymooners, then I think you will like The Spanish Love Deception, because I feel like this book is like a mix of Hating Game plus Honeymooners smashed into one book. So The Hating Game is one of my like all-time favourite romances. I've read this a couple of times now and I've absolutely loved it. And in this, I have just watched the film. The book is far superior. You're following Lucy and Josh, and they are colleagues, but they're constantly in competition and they hate each other, and you are following them and their office rivalry as it turns into not being so much office rivalry, and their romance as it blossoms. There are so many iconic scenes in this that I love, but I really enjoy their dynamic, and I feel like there is a similar dynamic between Catalina and Aaron. Again, this is originally set in an office where you have these office rivals that do not get along, and their tension and their dislike for each other. But this one, you do have a setting in Spain, because she ends up having her sister's wedding, and she feels like she needs to have a man with her by her side, as she has told all her family that she has a boyfriend that does not exist. And Aaron ends up stepping in to be her fake boyfriend. So this is why I feel like it mixes together The Hating Game plus The Honeymooners, because The Honeymooners is people that dislike each other that end up on a holiday together. And this has that similar vibe, that these are these office colleagues, rivals, but combined with the more holiday setting that The Honeymooners has. So I think if you like either of those two books, then I think you will like this, as it just combines those elements. I do think that The Hating Game is my favourite still out of the two, because this does have, I'd say, a slower start, that the first 100 or so pages could have been edited a little bit more, but I did really like where this got to, and I would recommend it. And if you haven't read The Hating Game and you have read this, then I think you should read The Hating Game. Most definitely read The Hating Game, because this one is so good. So there's another pairing. And then my final pairing for this video is that if you like Malice by John Gwynne, I think you should read The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. So epic fantasy recommendation here. Malice is one of my favourite books. I adore this series. And in this, you are set in the Banished Lands, and you have a variety of characters. It's very much multi-perspective, following this, the fight between good and evil. There are two gods, Azeroth and Elrond, and they have their pawns upon the earth, and there is prophesied to be a black sun who is going to be the pawn of the dark side, and a bright star, the pawn of the good side. And you are following various characters who could fit into either side, and you're trying to figure out who is who, and these warring factions between different empires, and ruling nations, and there are giants and there is magic. There's not loads of magic, but magic and wars and politics and just excellence, and lots and lots of twists, lots and lots of twists. And then The Shadow of What Was Lost is again multi-perspective, and you're following a cast of characters, and this one you are following Davian and a few of his friends in a school setting as they learn magic. 20 years prior to the start of this series, there was a change in rule where magic users went from being the ruling class to now being controlled and monitored by non-magic users, and they are trained in these schools, and those that are not trained and those that fail are turned into shadows, and they are stripped of their power and their magic. And then there is this rising threat from beyond the wall that is seen as this evil force. So similarities, I guess based on those summaries there doesn't seem to be loads of similarities. I think the similarities in this is that it's twisty, that there are lots and lots of twists and turns and lots of things happening, that you're always kept on the edge of your seat as things keep twisting and turning and going in every which way direction. I think with both of them as well, there is this little hurdle to get over where you are getting to grips with the world and the stories and the characters, because in both of them there is quite a lot going on, and in both of them, in the series as a whole, there is a lot to follow. That I think is the main link between these, that if you enjoy a fantasy series where there are lots of twists, lots of turns, lots to keep track of, lots to like keep you engaged, and multiple perspectives as well, so you keep turning the pages to get back to each different perspective, then I would recommend them. There is also like themes of like gods, religion, not necessarily religion, but more like gods in both of these. Yeah, and yeah, some an evil threat as well. Like there's an evil threat in both of them. And as well, like you have this, I don't know who's good and who's bad, or like not necessarily good or bad, but like I don't know who to trust in both of them. That in these you say like, I think I like this person, but should I actually like them? That there is a lot of not necessarily grey morality, but like you are trying to figure out like who is on which side in both of these. So that is my final pairing for if you like this, then I think you should try this. So there are 4 pairs, 4 recommendations. Let me know if any of these work for you, if you have read both of the pair, one of the pair, you're going to try out one of the other ones. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!